In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to create stacked box plots in Desmos. This will let you compare two or more univariate data sets using box plots. So it's best to keep your data in lists. You can enter it directly into the boxplot command, but then you can't do other things with it, like ask for a 5-number summary or decide you'd rather have a dot plot as easily. Traditionally, we name lists with the capital letter L and then a subscript if we have more than one. So I've typed on the keyboard a capital letter L, and then to get my subscript, to get the little number down below, I'm going to hit Shift and then the dash key that is located next to the 0 on my keyboard. That got the cursor down below. I can then type the number 1 and right arrow to get back up in line rather than below. That's the name of my list. It's list 1. You can also use different letters for your lists if you prefer, but this is the generally typical way to do this. I use equals once again on my keyboard, and then the square brackets, which are next to the letter P on most keyboards. Then I can type in my data separated by commas for my first box and whisker plot. Let's go 10, 10, 11, 11, 11, 12, 12, 12, 12, 13. 15, 19, 20, 21, 24, 25. And you'll see that Desmos tells me how many things are in my list as I go ahead and complete each element, and that can be a good way to check. If you know your list is supposed to have 17 things in it and it says 16 element list, you know you forgot to put one of them in and you can fix it. So that's a good way for you to check your work. So that's my first list. Let's say my second list, because I'm going to be comparing two data sets here. L sub 2, which I put in the same way, using that shift and dash to get my underscore, and my right arrow key to get out of it again. And maybe this one is 6, 7, 7, 7, 8, 8, 9, 10, 11, 11, 12, 13, 13, 13, 13, 16, 17, 20, 23, 25, 26. So I've got two lists here. They're very different sizes, but that doesn't matter to a box and whisker plot. And when I want to make my box plot, I can either go to the on-screen keyboard, go to Functions, and scroll down until I get to Visualizations, or I can type the word boxplot, all one word, directly. Either case, I'm then going to want to call my list in that boxplot. So if I typed it into a list before, I'll want to type that same thing, capital L, shift dash to get underscore 1, and then the right arrow to get out of that again. And there's my box plot. You'll see I don't see anything on the screen right now, and that's because right now I have this centered at 10 and 10, and my data isn't there. My data is elsewhere, so I will need to zoom out and adjust things so that I can actually see the interesting parts of my data. And there is my first box plot. Now, if I try to just graph my second box plot, and this time I am just typing in boxplot using the keyboard because that's faster for me. You could go into the menu again if you wanted to. And then I type this in. The default is that it's just going to plop it right on top of the other one. And I don't want to do that. And how I adjust that is by these offsets. So if I change this offset from 1 to 3, that puts it up here at 3 instead of down here at 1. And you'll see this one has a ton of outliers because it's kind of a funny data set, so I can choose to include or exclude them. I think I'm actually going to change my data set a little bit to have fewer repeated 11s because it really is funny looking at this point. So I'm just going to change it because it is a fake data set to be a little less completely full of the number 11. And possibly also to be a little less full of 13s. But the purpose of all of this is that this offset is how I can adjust things so they're not on top of each other. Height is just about how big my box plot takes up. This one takes up 1 unit of space. If I change this to like 7, you can see now it's going to take up 7 units of space. So for most data sets, it doesn't really matter what this is as long as it's the same for the two of them. If you feel for whatever aesthetic reason that it makes sense to change that, you can. But this offset is what you need to change if you want to not have your data sets on top of each other. And if you're using a height of 1, just add 2 to each offset, because that'll move it so it's spaced nice and evenly like this. You can space it a little differently if you prefer. If I want them further apart, I could say 4. If I want them right on top of each other, I could do that, but that looks a little messy. I could even do like 2.5 if I really wanted to. But in general, if you just keep the heights at 1 and you add 2 to each offset, if I had another one, I'd make it at 5. If I had another one, I'd make it at 7. Then you'll get a pretty decent data display. And when you're done, if you need this as an image, such as for the current assignment, you can go to Share Graph and Export Image. And it'll give you a preview, and you can change all kinds of things around and make sure that you get exactly what you want. Change your line thickness, and you get a lot of good features here to help you make a situation that makes sense for the graph you have and the data you have. And then you'll click Download Ping. That'll download it to your computer, and then you can put it from your computer into your document. Thank you for watching.